What is up, everybody? I am making another video for my 40-day water fast. Today's going to be a big one. Today's probably, I hope this one's going to be probably the big one that kind of answers a lot of questions, goes over the whole shebang of what I'm doing and why. And I got written up here, how to lose 300 pounds. I hope you follow me. Day 4 of my 40-day water-only fast. Sun's going down. I'm probably going to watch the sunset as we make this video. I'm going to turn the lights on just in case that happens. Turn this light on, shut the door, make sure we're all good and prepared for a long talk. This one's not going to, I'm not going to go through it fast. I'm going to make sure my time is taken to make sure you know what I'm talking about and why, because this stuff is life-saving stuff. I made an announcement on my water fasting group, and it's just called Water Fasting, with fasting in all caps. If you're not a member, get on there. We're a big old family helping each other out through our water fasts and through our health issues and our weight issues. And a lot of people on that group are looking to lose weight, and that's understandable. My whole life I looked into water fasting for that specific reason, to lose weight. But I have found that through many water fasts, that's not the mindset you need to have to lose weight. The key in weight loss is lifestyle change. So if you're going to incorporate fasting into your complete lifestyle until your death, then do it. That's the way I do it. And I'm going to go over what I've done and how I've done it and why, and some science in between to kind of hopefully alleviate any questions about all of the stuff that I'm talking about. So if you disagree with anything, if you have questions about anything, just message me, rewatch the video. I'm going to give some references you can go to, and just a whole bunch. This is just going to be a knowledge bomb for people, okay? I don't do this video making stuff. I'm new to it. I don't do public speaking much. I really don't even care to be in the spotlight for media attention or anything, but what I have learned, I feel obligated to share with a lot of people. So this one's going to be a big one, and that's why I got so fancy with this piece of paper taped on the wall. So I can actually kind of give you a physical picture of what I'm talking about. So the video is about how to lose 300 pounds, but also the lifestyle that I chose to do that, how I did it, why I do it, kind of talking about some counter ways of doing things, and maybe hopefully alleviating some questions about that also. So I promised my fasting group that I was going to make a video that talked about excesses of things, how imbalances of those excesses cause weight gain, disease, addiction, depression, every problem that most people suffer from. And the people who join the water fasting group, those are the problems they have, and they have a lot of questions, okay? So, honestly, I don't have any scripted plan. I'm just going to go from what's in here, and what's in here, and what I have experienced. And basically, this talk is about imbalances, but I'm going to talk about energy and how it's nature's protocol to just use nature, and that's going to get you to a balanced state. So just follow me, okay? This is going to be a long video. I don't know if I have enough data to even upload this video of this length. But I actually bought more data for this video specifically for my wireless plan. So, you're welcome, people. I'm just kidding. I love y'all. But this is important stuff, and I'm doing this for a big reason. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this mainly for the people I love and I care about, and I want you guys to know how important that is. I have family, I have friends, I have strangers on my fasting group and other groups who have seen me on Good Morning America, Runner's World, on podcasts with these doctors, and they ask me questions about, well, what do I do with my diabetes? How do I reverse my heart disease? How do I lose weight? I can't walk. I have lymphedema in my leg the same way that you did, in which I did. My left leg would swell to be crazy sizes. I had a bunch of pain in both feet and ankles. I couldn't walk. I went over 500 pounds, down to 204 pounds. Became a distance runner, ran up and down a mountain in Colorado, did a 33.25-mile race just about a month ago in Florida. Not talking about all that. But this is what this can make happen. Okay, so, getting a little stopped up. So earlier I had a lot of energy on my day 4. Today's day 4. Super high energy this morning. But then I went out into town and did a bunch of errands. You know, I was taking care of some stuff to go take care of bills, and went to a post office and mailed some stuff, and I just got a lot of action done today, which kind of drained me. And when you're water fasting, it's very easy to fluctuate in your energy levels. So whenever we water fast, we need to just rest as much as possible. Water fasting is only drinking pure water in a state of absolute rest. Period. That's all water fasting is. You don't add flavors. You don't drink coffee. You don't add lemon juice. You don't need to add apple cider vinegar. You don't need pink Himalayan salt as an electrolyte to replace your electrolytes. Water only, okay? So, now I don't know how dead set those facts are. I just know that I follow a few professionals who have spent their life educating the world on water fasting, and they just say water only and rest. To prepare for your fast, if you don't want to experience all the horrible, harsh side effects like headache, vomiting, just a whole bunch of issues that people deal with, I would very highly suggest you eat nothing but whole, not blended, not powdered, but whole, fresh fruits and vegetables a week or 2 prior to starting your water fast. Okay? And once you get through your water fast, depending on your duration, if it's an extended fast, I would break the fast with a high water content fruits, followed by a whole foods plant-based way of eating. All of this is just a huge compaction of a lot of knowledge that I've accumulated over the past few years. So let's get started. The key here, okay, is whole plants. So water fasting, whenever I talk about water fasting and my weight loss, they're not together. I personally have realized, the epiphany I have realized is that to lose weight, you don't need to figure out a fast solution. You don't need to hurry up and find that easy fix like a water fast. Okay, I just need a water fast for 30 days so I can lose 30 pounds. Don't think like that. I thought like that for years, and what it made me do is go up and down and just balloon up to more and more weight because I was always trying to stick to my 20, 30-day fast. Couldn't make it. I would binge. Now, I'm not saying other people's willpower is less, but it's hard. It's way more hard than eating proper and eating a balanced way. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the secret to almost everyone's issues. And now, I'm no expert, but I have spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to understand all of this stuff and all this science out of necessity. So, I spent years trying to figure out how not to be fat because I was fat my entire life. I was unhealthy my entire life, and I just wanted to figure it out. So I started off with a low-carb, ketogenic way, and actually I wasn't even worried about the high fats. I was just worried about not eating carbs. So I'd eat slices of bologna, turkey, hot dogs, steak. I did not care about whole plant foods or using coconut oil. I did it incorrectly, but now that I know the science and the mechanisms behind it all, and the plethora of doctors behind it all, I'm telling you right now that a whole foods plant-based way of eating, a high-carb, low-fat way, a high-carbohydrate, low-fat diet is going to get you to an optimal state of health way further than a high-fat, low-carb way of eating. Okay? I'm going to get more into that. So here's the key. I want you to take notice right now. Okay? When we talk about energy and energy balance, I want you to know that if you put anything in your body other than a whole source of natural energy, unprocessed, there's a chance that you're going to have an excess of something, and those excesses are going to cause imbalances. That's inevitable. So you need to keep this statement in your mind. Nature has stacked the deck, all right? Good friend told me that. Nature is the answer here. Nature is going to get you back to balance. And I'm about to explain some deep stuff, why that is, and what to do to avoid the imbalances, all right? So let's start off. I hope this is visible on camera, but if not, I'll explain it and you can kind of see what's going on. So you have an atom, right? Here's a nucleus of an atom. I don't know if you can see this, but then you have the orbit around that nucleus. So you have your protons, your electrons, all these things orbiting around this nucleus, right? You have this perfect orbit, and what this is just an atom representing energy, whether it be oxygen, hydrogen, iron, zinc, neon, whatever it may be, all right? These 126 or so elements on our periodic table are pretty much the particles in the universe that make up everything, all right? We're all made of stardust. Just keep with me here. This is energy. Notice how it's a perfect balance, how it's a perfect rotation. Now let's just say all these atoms have, a big portion have compacted themselves into a planet, right? A perfect spherical planet with an equator, right? Not only that, it has a magnetic field that is perfectly balanced out too around that. But notice that this planet is orbiting around a sun. And that sun is orbiting around a galactic core, and who knows what beyond that, right? So you have all of these sources of energy, right? So what is the sun, a big thing of energy, that is radiating off onto the earth? So to get our plant life, it takes all of the old dead atoms, from decomposing people, humans, animals, trees, insects, leaves. Biological matter that is decomposable becomes soil. And that soil collects the sunlight mixed with water, hydrogen, oxygen atoms, and it creates plant life through photosynthesis. All right? So that's interesting. But notice how the center of the earth is closer to that source of sun, the energy, and there's more plant life at the middle of the earth. There's tropical regions, there's more fruit, there's more green. It's just a more energetic place on the planet, right? So humans pretty much started off near the center of the planet. It is when that you go away from the equator to the north and south that vegetation is less. So we had to adapt to be eating animal products, because when you get down to where it's freezing, or up here, in northern Canada and Alaska, you have the Inuit people, the people from Alaska who eat seals and whale blubber. So they have adapted to be doing that, and we too, in the middle range between the equator and the extreme cold, we have vegetation and animals. So what I'm getting at is that plants are a direct source of energy provided by nature. All right? So this is profound for me. So if you really understand certain scientific principles, this statement blew my mind. The first law of thermodynamics is energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed into another form of energy. So whenever you have rainwater and it gets collected and drunk by someone and they urinate it out, it's just getting transformed through different processes, but it gets reutilized. If I were to get burned down to ashes, I'm still going to be made up of a bunch of different things, with some of it let off through heat and whatever, but I'm still going to have these molecules of iron and oxygen and hydrogen and zinc. So those components get transformed into something else. So when you have this direct source of energy as plants from the sun, and it gets eaten by an animal, they're processing it through their body. And you're getting concentrated forms of certain things in their muscle tissue. And for the most part, we can live off animal products. But they cause problems because in nature, as a human, you do not have the ability to go out to the woods and go pick up a pound of chicken, a pound of pork, a pound of beef, a jar of coconut oil, a stick of butter, a bag of ground up coffee. Where in nature are you going to find that? You can't. And if you saw a bunch of animals, if you saw a pig or a cow in nature, you're going to be able to run after that, tackle it with your bare hands, and dig into it with your fingernails or your teeth. I'm telling you, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than going up to a tree and picking an apple. So you need to understand that nature has a protocol. All right, this is one of the biggest epiphanies that changed my life. So, understanding this basic principle of energy and how nature has a natural way of balancing things. If you go towards eating animals and what the stores tell you to do, in a commercial saying, hey, you need to eat beef, you have to eat butter, well, you need to realize, well, is this what nature is intended? Am I able to go out and do these things? This is going to be hugely controversial to a lot of people. But how I lost my weight was realizing this and slowly getting down to a normal, balanced way of living. So, water fasting does this perfectly. The number one thing the body... Its number one mechanism is healing and trying to reach a balanced state. So we are always trying to reach something called homeostasis. So homeostasis is this. Okay, so you have your baseline, right? This is homeostasis. This is, hopefully you can see that. But this is normal levels of everything, okay? You have a homeostatic state of insulin, blood sugar, protein levels, body fat levels, neurotransmitter levels, which are like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. There's a few others. But enzymes, minerals, vitamins, water. Your body is always trying to regulate that to a balanced level because that's what nature intended. All right? So let's say you eat nothing but whole plants, whole apples, whole potatoes, whole brown rice, whole broccoli, whole beets. Now, I'm not saying you have to eat these just by themselves and boring. You can take 10 different plants, put them into, bite-sized pieces, and make an amazing meal. If you want pizza, there's a way to make it in a whole foods plant-based way. It's kind of incredible. If you want tacos or burgers, there's ways to do it without over-processing your food or adding animal products or excess fats or anything that's unnatural, all right? So, let's just say caffeine, right? Well, when you have caffeine, and let's say you put some sugar in it, right? Well, that sugar is blended up sugar cane with the water taken out, so it doesn't have its natural package to balance out those sugars properly, right? So you're taking processed sugar and blended up coffee, right? Something everybody does, and they put milk in it, or creamer, or something of the sort. So what this is going to do, okay? Now, in nature, if you were just to eat an apple, if this is another line of your baseline, right, of all your normal levels, you eat an apple, and your cells are properly cleaned into a balanced state, guess what? You're not going to reach spikes and dips. You're going to have a nice sustained energy level. Let's just have another one here. You eat an apple or a potato, you're going to have a nice sustained energy. Or if anything, it's just going to have a nice waveform that's not too high and not too low. I don't know if you could see that. But stay with me. Now, if you have something like coffee and sugar, you're going to spike your levels of insulin, your blood sugar, your neurotransmitters, which are the pleasure chemicals, right? Your pleasure hormones, right? Your neurotransmitters. Duh. No. But seriously, once you spike something in the body, there has to be, for every action, there's a negative reaction, right? To keep this balanced state of energy. So when you spike your levels of stuff in the body, there's going to have to be a dip, right? So then what? Now your energy's low. Now you feel fatigued. Now your neurotransmitters are just absolutely low, so you feel depressed. So to feel normal again, you have to take something in that makes you feel at least up to here or close. Or else it's just not going to add up. So you're going to have to drink another cup of coffee, maybe more, maybe with more sugar, because you want to be even higher than you were before. It's a drug. You're spiking your neurotransmitters and your levels of everything in the body just because you feel like crap. You're tired. You're fatigued. So what this does, it causes something called the pleasure trap. All right, you need to read a book by Dr. Alan Goldhammer, which is a water fasting expert at True North Health Center. I am not affiliated with him at all, or any of the doctors I'm going to talk about in this video. So, he wrote that book with a Dr. Doug Lyle, which I believe is a psychologist. But they talk about some wonderful things about this. How we get in this trap of spiking things and then coming back down and dipping. Now, when you're below certain things, you're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel fatigued. You're going to have very low energy. You're going to be just crazy. And you have to figure out, well, how do I get to that balanced state again? And see, whenever you spike your levels and then you dip them, well, in the middle it's balanced, but it's a dangerous trap, and that causes addiction. But these excesses accumulate in the body, and those accumulations of these excesses are what cause the diseases on this planet. And whenever you eat certain things that are processed, or maybe they are an animal product, you're having too many calories because the caloric density of processed foods and animal products and oils are extremely high. But when you have foods like whole vegetables, whole fruits, whole grains, and whole beans, those 4 food groups of a plant-based way of eating, they're not going to spike your levels and dip them. All right? Now some people say, well, carbs are going to spike your blood sugars. Well, here's the thing. They will if you have a lot of body fat in your body over a period of time, because you have adapted your body to using insulin in a very inefficient way, insulin resistance. And what's going to cause that? An excess of fats in the blood clogging up your cells. All right? So if you can see this, if this is a cell, right? And you have all these little openings for different hormone receptor sites, and then you have your, your mitochondria, and you have your ATP conversion going on inside the cells. Now what happens is your body uses nutrients in a really cool way. So if your blood is flowing and you have blood sugar in your blood and it's going through the cells, getting converted through the cycle it does, through the Krebs cycle. I know a lot of this stuff isn't going to make sense to you, but I'm trying to get the gist of it for the people who might. But also just know that this is the cell, and this little marker right here, let's call that an insulin receptor site. All right? So what you have here is you have insulin, right? So this is like the key. This is like the lock, right? So if you have a bunch of fats in your bloodstream and clogging up these cells, you have something clogging up your receptor sites for your cells. What this is called is intramyocellular lipids. Intramyocellular lipids, which means fats within the cells. All right? I hope you're following me. So when you clog up the receptor site right here, when you put gum in a lock, the key's not going to go in properly. When you have insulin not going into the receptor sites to allow the conversion of this glucose to be converted into all the things it is, like glycogen for your muscles, and the way that it gives it to the brain, you're going to cause an insulin resistance response. You're going to cause insulin resistance by this fat clogging up your cells. So that's a great explanation of an excess of fat and how it causes issues with the body. So, whenever I lost 300 pounds, I didn't understand this concept right away. At the beginning of 2015, I just made a promise. Okay, this is another huge key, and I'm going to try to stay on topic here, but I made a promise that until the day I die, I'm going to be as healthy as I can be. So what I did was set out to know what I needed to do to be healthy, all right? So I did the low-carb diet at first. I didn't even weigh myself because that was something that I always did. You know you have body fat. So if you want to lose a whole bunch of weight, throw the scale away. Stop worrying about pounds and numbers. Unless maybe it's a homeostatic state of your blood sugars and your insulin and your triglycerides and your cholesterol, stuff like that, if you want to know how optimal your levels are. And the last time I got checked for my levels, they were all optimal. The blood sugar, the cholesterol, the blood pressure, that was a while back. But I kind of got back into this trap, and I started eating more processed foods and caffeine again. I went 2 years without having caffeine. But I started doing more distance running, so I started using these goo packet gels that had a little caffeine. So I started getting back on this spiking and dipping of sugars and caffeine. And then I was training for a 50K, a 33-mile run recently. So to train for that, I justified my caloric intake by eating these processed flours and processed sugars, and yeah, a little bit of oils. But what this did was made me more inefficient as a running machine, as a biological machine, right? So I gained a bunch of weight back. I got down to 204. I probably got up to 240, 250. I don't know. I'm not weighing myself. I know I gained weight. So I'm not fasting to lose the weight. I'm fasting to get to a balanced state. Because the number one protocol for your body is trying to reach balance. So water fasting gives the body optimal conditions in which to heal. So if you stop putting things in the body, it's going to naturally adapt to heal and balance those levels out. So, animal products. They're going to give you an excess of animal proteins, an excess of cholesterol, an excess of fats, saturated fats. So, and if you have dairy, dairy's even worse than meat. So you have estrogens. Not only do you have mammalian estrogens that cause a whole bunch of problems, but you have the excess animal proteins in the dairy, like casein. And if you see the studies by Dr. Why can't I think of his name? It's like the most famous doctor. But he wrote the book, The China Study. I should know his name because it's like the most famous doctor. But my brain is so overloaded right now, and I've been fasting. So I'll remember it. I know I will. But watch the movie called Forks Over Knives. Another movie called What the Health. And those movies explain a whole bunch. But not all of it goes over these details about these imbalances and how nature has its protocol. So when you water fast, the only thing you need to worry about is drinking only water and resting. If you want to know more about the fasting part and some of this nutrition I'm talking about, check out a video that's somebody interviewing Dr. Alan Goldhammer. If you check out my water fasting group on Facebook, it is the pinned post right now. And it's an hour and a half or so long, but it's totally worth it because it goes over the science about things and about, nutrition. But so how did I lose 300 pounds? Well, I went low carb. A few months after that, I noticed that it's just something that I always did. So I needed to change things up. I needed to get out of my comfort zone. So I started adding more smoothies to my diet. And then I noticed that, well, I can't just have smoothies for the rest of my life. I need to figure, and this is a key to weight loss. A, you need to want it bad enough. You need to want to be healthy, to do whatever it takes to change. And once I found out how to do things, it was a no-brainer, absolutely. I actually said, I'm never giving up meat. Ever. I was a barbecue fanatic. I used to barbecue. Me and my brothers, my family, we barbecued all the time, and it was just very pleasurable, addictive foods. Now, so after the smoothies, about May, a woman found me. Well, actually, I found her group, Earth Friendly Food Choices, a fantastic Facebook group. The admin, Debbie McDougall, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This woman, I used to get so emotional thinking about her because without her, I don't know if I'd be here today or even be living. So what she did was she sent me a message on Facebook. As the admin, I was a new member of the group. And she said, what brought you to a plant-based lifestyle? I had no idea what she was talking about. Because I was all about, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but, I just added myself to this group because I wanted to learn about health. So she started asking me about my health problems. I told her about my lymphedema, my chronic tendinitis, my eye fishing syndrome. I had a bunch of issues with that, a bunch of normal obesity problems, okay? So she sent me a video entitled Starch Solution. And that video was of a Dr. John McDougall at a Veg Source seminar talking about, and it's like an hour and 15 minutes. So if you go find it, highly recommend it. That video sparked everything for me. So Deborah, if you're watching this, I love you. Thank you. You literally saved and changed my life. So this video, he was talking about how you can lose weight and reverse health issues by eating potatoes and rice and fruit. And I was like, this is absolutely absurd, because everybody knows that you can't lose weight by eating a lot of carbs. I was 1,000% wrong, but I thought that was wrong. So I had to research that. I was like, well, I have to prove this wrong because this doesn't make sense. Well, that led me to be finding movies like Forks Over Knives and researching all the doctors in that movie. So I would research doctors like Dr. Goldhammer, Dr. Doug Lisle, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Man, I don't know why I'm such a blank for that other doctor, but he wrote the book, The China Study, and I know everyone who's plant-based is going to be laughing at me right now, but I haven't eaten in 4 days, so know that. Boy, I really wish I could think of it right now, but it's all good. Dr. Joel Kahn is another one. I have that written down because he did an interview with someone, and I'm going to talk about that too. But basically, in May, I found the plant-based way of eating. But I knew that I needed to get my body clean of all of these excesses. So I went on a June 1st, 2015, I went on a simple 10-day water-only fast. And that's when I decided that whenever I break my fast, I'm going to break it in an optimal way and eat only plants. But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to eat. So I started off eating processed plants, which is okay at first. You are allowed this transitionary period, okay? You don't need to be going from overweight to skinny or unhealthy to healthy. You can adapt slowly to that, all right? That's nature's protocol. You don't have to get there overnight. So whenever I broke my fast, I was eating potatoes and white rice and saltier foods with sugar and veggie burgers on buns with baked fries. I just knew I had to keep all animal products out. And there's a whole lot of reasons why that is true. Also, keep all oils out. 0 animal products, 0 oils. These 2 things are going to save your life. I promise you. Oil is bull, all right? Oil is one of the most caloric foods on the planet. 120 calories for a spoonful. So, keep that out. So the 3 things that you need to really keep out of your diet are animal products, all oils, and processed foods. But you can have a little processed foods in the beginning. But what I did was I would lose a little bit of weight. I would hit a plateau. Okay, what's going on? What do I have to change? Okay, I'm eating too much white rice. Let's switch to brown rice. Okay, I would lose more. I hit a plateau. Okay, we have to change it up again. What do I do? Well, take away some of the rice and replace it with more veggies. I hit a plateau I could not tell you how many times. So when you do that, you need to adapt. You need to get out of your comfort zone and change things up. It's progressively getting cleaner. The ultimate goal for me and what I've learned is you want to get to where you're eating nothing but whole plants, whole veggies, fruits, grains, and beans and legumes, and drinking water. So anything else, there's a possibility that there's going to be an excess. So whenever you do eat whole plants, eat a very vast variety. You don't want to eat just one thing unless it's a balanced food that has all the amino acids, all the natural fiber and water you need. So, don't just eat dried dates or dried figs because the caloric density is going to be higher in those as well. Or don't just eat, broccoli because there's not going to be enough calories. So eat the 10,000 plants out there, just eat all you want, basically. And that's the key. You get to eat so much food through the plant-based way of eating. So that's how I lost 300 pounds. So if you're going to put something in your body and it's not a whole plant, it's going to possibly cause an excess. And more than likely, it's going to cause spikes and dips in all of these things. But whenever you have a potato or an apple or grapes or any whole plant, leafy greens, eat your leafy greens. They're so important for so many things, mainly for cardiovascular function. They help with nitrates. I really wish I could just go over all these details, but eat your greens. Eat nothing but whole plants. I want to just stress that enough. But when you eat a potato, it has the natural minerals and vitamins and water and fiber and amino acids that the body needs. It's not going to be dried. So if you start taking away the water out of food, you're messing with nature. If you put it through a blender and breaking up those fiber strands, you're messing with nature's protocol. So whenever you take something like a vitamin C supplement, you're just taking vitamin C. Don't do that, because there are studies that show by taking excess vitamin C pills, vitamin A pills, it's an excess. You're spiking things. You don't need to have an excess of an extracted singular vitamin. They can cause health problems. There's medical studies on all those. Check those out. All these doctors also prove that. So, you need to look at food as a symphonic thing. So whenever you eat an orange to get your vitamin C versus an extracted supplement, not only are you getting the vitamin C, but you're getting all the other vitamins in that, all those phytochemicals, the natural pure water in that orange juice, all the natural fiber of that orange, and all of that works together like a symphony. And it's beautiful, and that prevents the spikes and the dips. So get out the junk, get out the chemicals, get out anything that you can't go out in nature and find. If you need to get to a balanced state fast, or want to experiment with it, water fast. Prepare by eating only whole fruits and vegetables, preferably high water content, to get you nice and hydrated and prepared for your water fast. You water fast, end your water fast by eating high water content fruits for a little bit, progressively move up to more fibrous foods. Okay, so that's optimal. But if you don't want to water fast and just change from junk food, the SAD diet, the standard American diet, high in pizza and burgers and chips and soda and candy bars, you don't have to do overnight. So when I started, I said, I don't care how long it takes. If it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it takes, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to get rid of these problems. I couldn't walk. I was annoyed by that, and I couldn't put up with that, and I said, whatever it takes, I want to start walking, and I want to start being able to be a healthy person. And I'm getting there. I'm still progressing. I'm not where I want to be with health whatsoever. I need to start getting more fit. I have a lot of balancing left to do, but it's not a race. You don't have to worry about overnight. So you need to do one thing. Embrace the journey. You need to literally, metaphorically, pack your bags and set out on a trip. If you've seen the movie Lord of the Rings, you know that the hobbits set out on a long journey to accomplish a mission, and they knew they were in for the long haul. And guess what? They went through battles, war, near-death experiences. This is the same thing. If you have a health disease, a health problem, you have excess weight, if you're 500 pounds like I was, you need to pack your bags and embrace that journey that's upcoming ahead. Because you're going to hit plateaus. You're going to have these addiction problems. And guess what? Those food addiction problems aren't going away. I still struggle with it, and that's one of the primary reasons I'm water fasting. I'm also fasting to help a bunch of people understand this stuff. Because how am I supposed to run a water fasting group if I've never actually water fasted for 40 days? As many try to do, and have a lot of questions about what goes on. So I have packed my bags mentally for this 40-day water fast. I've only water fasted 14 days. I fasted 10, 12, 14 days many times, but never longer because it's hard. So to me, this is just another ultra marathon. You know, this morning I was really high energy. I did a bunch of stuff, then I was fatigued and really tired, but I got a phone call from a really good friend just to check in on me, tell me they love me. We had an amazing talk about some of the stuff I'm talking about. So this detox has me congested or something. I mean, I'm also in a new part of the country that I've never really been to. If you've never watched any of my videos on my page or my fasting group, I traveled 1,000 miles from my hometown of Southeast Missouri, moved to West Texas for a job. Things didn't work out. I ended up not having a place to stay, not having much finances to do much with. So I'm kind of homeless, broke, all alone, and I found this Seventh-day Adventist church that I found on the map before I even came to Missouri. I just took notice of it because it was in between the two towns of where I was going to work at. So